What up guys, it is Justice here and welcome back to Runescape. So it's bank holiday weekend and I thought I would take advantage of that and go out and set myself a challenge to achieve 100 million GP within one day. This video is going to take you through how I got to 100 mil within one day. Of course I made it, I've uploaded this video, but it's going to take you through each of the boss fights, how much money I made at each boss fight throughout the day and the time I spent there, and just the struggles that I went through to finally achieve it. Essentially, I'm going to tell you how I did it within one day. My prediction was to at least stream. I was going to have to stream for about 12 hours because I was going to have breaks in between, and therefore let's say PvM solidly for about 10 hours worth of the day and try and average 10 mil an hour. So I had to choose bosses that would give me that. Now in terms of like order, in terms of money making right now in the game, I would say duo Araxxor is the very best money maker in the game right now, or solo depending on what rotation it is. After that you've then got Rise of the Six, although if you've got 100% increased drop chance at God Wars Dungeon 2, people are saying that God Wars Dungeon 2 is in fact the second best moneymaker right now in the game. If you have a 100% drop chance, it can be better than Rise of the Six. Then moving on to Rise of the Six, and then from there it's duo or solo next. So those were the main priorities for me today in order to obtain 100 mil. Okay, so I will try my best now to reflect on yesterday's events. Starting off with Rise of the Six, did quite a few kills here. Did 2 hours in total at Rise of the Six, averaged out to about 6.6 mil an hour. Switched up the team once throughout it, so had a different team for each hour. And just to cover off this rotation, I wasn't a major fan of this rotation. So on the side which I'm on right now on the screen, it was Guthans, Torag and Carols. Now that I don't mind on this side, because essentially we had a guy here called Pardus who was walking Carols and playing the walking role. I think he was using like a melee as well, like a scythe, which can be very good if you're tanking the melee brothers with, let's say, insight. So he was walking Carols. I was then focusing on Carols with him. We take Carols down and then I onslaught onto my brother, which is Guthans. And the role which I was doing on this side was very, very easy. All you have to do is DPS Carol down and then onslaught. I think you like a Dren pot at the beginning, whip out a wild magic, just use basics, work up to 100% and then onslaught Guthans. So that was very easy on that side. But the other side, which I also did a good hour on, was very irritating. Even more irritating when you die like this on screen right now. Check that out. I died from the cloud that damages you. In NXD, this cloud is not visible the majority of the time, and there is a lot of issues with high-level PvM and NXD, which is why when you watch my streams, I'm hardly ever using NXD, because they need to fix everything with it. No, not everything, but Jax needs to fix a heck of a lot of things with high-level PvM because it doesn't make it enjoyable. There's so much delay with your abilities and just so many animation delays with the actual bosses themselves that it almost makes it it just doesn't make it worth doing. No matter how good the graphics are, if those basics aren't right, then people aren't going to use it if you're into high-level PvM. And it's just frustrating as hell because you know you can do things and then you can't do it in NXD because it delays you. And that's the most frustrating thing. NXD was supposed to be bringing higher performance. All the extra graphics and draw distances for me was an extra thing and an amazing extra thing, but for me personally it was all about the performance and having less delay, less lag, but you just don't get that with high-level PvM and NXD. Anyway, this rotation in itself, on that side you want to have one major, one ranger. The major's obviously taking out the melee brothers and then the ranger will take out Arams. And you both take out Dark at the beginning and then I prioritize my onslaught onto Aram. Works pretty well, but again, not the fastest of kills on this rotation. It's not that great on that side. Oh yeah, and if you are the one who's tanking the brothers with insight on that side, you want to be using AoE abilities with your partner around Aram to get Aram up in the air, ready for the ranger to onslaught Aram whilst Aram's in the air. That will restrict Aram from flaming around as well and using his flame special, which can be very irritating and it will slow down the kill. So that speeds it up and it makes it more efficient. And all in all, we made 6.6 mil an hour, so it isn't too bad, but the onslaught ability has definitely made Rise of the Six much easier. We then moved on to Araxxor, and again, I was doing this with Chewy. As you can see on screen, that was probably the very best loot that I managed to get, was literally Onyxes. Everything else was pretty dire. And what you'll find is a common trend throughout this video up until the end of just not making much money. So after about an hour of Araxxor, we made Well, about 2 hours of Araxxor or so, an hour and a half, we made 14 mil. Including a few Rise of the Six drops. Now, rune metrics. Now, the way I worked out how much money I was making throughout today, or throughout this video, is a combination of rune metrics, having to keep track of the loot myself, and trading loot to my mate Chewy later on in the video when we do Geo next. So there was no way I could track it all with rune metrics because, yes, guys, rune metrics is not completely legitimate in terms of the way it tracks your drops. For example, at Rise of the Six, when it drops the unstable energies, or when you loot the unstable malevolent energies from the chest, and you then, well, because they're unstable and they're not, you can't sell them at that point, it does not show, it doesn't give you value on the rune metrics, and then once they turn into stable malevolent energies, once you leave the tunnel, it's not tracked on rune metrics. That was one of the biggest downsides to that. Also, when we did Duo next, I wasn't going to get all of the drops, so again, another downside. So I had to combine a lot of different values. Now, you'll see us right on the screen right now doing Duo Araxxor. Oh my god, this was one of the worst P4s I've ever done in my life. Somehow we made it. Guys, I'll try and highlight it. Go and watch it live because the reactions were ridiculous. Again, copyright music, can't upload to YouTube. But guys, oh my god, that was insane. Watch it back if you want to. Crazy P4. I had no idea how we survived it. Press switches were decent enough to the point that we survived. But this rotation is 1 and 3. A lot of people, you know, I asked a lot of people, and no one was really crazy enough or dumb enough to do this rotation consistently with me because they just don't like 1 and 3 because it's insta-spawn special spiders in Phase 4, which can be an absolute pain. So overall, guys, I don't know, probably made roughly around maybe 28, 30 mil from Araxxor, or maybe 25 mil from Araxxor today, or within this video. We then moved on to Geo next. Now, the main reason for this is that if you're doing Duo Araxxor at 300% in rage, because when you're doing Duo, you're going to get to 300% very, very quickly, and it's a high intensity boss at 300% in rage. So I decided to switch up a bit for the stream, do a bit of variety, and show you guys that you don't have to just do the best money maker in the game to make 100 mil within a day. Now at this point, I was sort of scraping, I was like scraping for the GP right now at this point, because it was around, I think 6-7 hours, 8 hours into the stream around that point, and I'd only made about 35-40 mil, and that's because of just being really unlucky. Like I said, throughout the day, I had no major drops. You know, I've had 760 odd kills at Araxxor now, and I've only ever had 2 hilts, and they're 1 out of 90. So I was expecting to get a hilt or something, you know, just to give me a bit of luck, but that never happened. Now, I thought, let's do some Geo next. That can be very, very good money. You can do some decent speed kills. Now, I've not got any augmented armor. I've not got augmented range armor, so I haven't augmented Pernix or my Nox longbow. Just haven't got round to it, because I've hardly ever used range since using melee all the time at Araxxor, and then using magic at Vorago. So that's why I didn't have any augmented range gear. Chewy is pretty decent at Nex as well, and he was just showing me the ropes of Nex again. It's been so long since I've done it. So it was kind of fun to do it, and it was very, very chill. I've been doing a lot of high intensity stuff on stream recently, like upskilling myself with Araxxor at 300% in rage. Doing that constantly, you know, it can get a lot of it can get a bit too much sometimes. So going to Nex, you know, the transition from doing 300% in rage Araxxors to just doing Duo Nex kills, it was just ridiculous. Like, it was so chill. You know, we didn't hardcore it. You know, we weren't going for like crazy speed kills or anything. Not capable of even doing that at Nex, to be honest, anymore. And it was just really chill. And the only downside to it is that we made like no money. Literally no money. We got 29 Nex kills within 2 hours, or 29 or 30 Nex kills, which was tracked on rune metrics, and we only made 5.6 mil each across a 2-hour Nex duo session. It was just ridiculous. We had no luck, and according to Jagex at the moment, the drop rate for Nex drops is about 1 out of 19 at the moment. And that was from a Jagex Q&A live stream, or a Jagex community live stream, where they looted 2,000 Nex kills. So if they looted 2,000 Nex kills, you can pretty much rely on that drop rate to an extent, and they got it at 1 out of 19. So I always used to think it was 1 out of 32 though, and then 1 out of 28 with a Ring of Wealth, but yeah, I don't know. It's 1 out of 19 according to the Jagex loot of 2,000, so I'm just going to go off that. And yeah, we got 29 kills and didn't receive a drop, even if we received gloves, for God's sake. But no, we didn't get anything. We were rooting for the Torva drop right now, because Torva is the most expensive, I think, drop at Nex at the moment. Like the Torva plate body's going for over 40 mil, I think, from what I'm hearing. And yeah, that would have been a beautiful split if you think about it. You know, that would average out at 10 mil an hour plus any other normal loot. So that would have been epic, but we didn't get it. Again, relying on a lot of RNG today because of the rotations which we were having to go through. I kind of wish paths like 1 and 2 were open at Araxxor or something, so we could like do some seriously good kills without any insta specials, and that would have just changed the entire day, to be honest. But then I thought, okay, we were about 10 hours into the session, still had only made 50 mil at this point, so averaging 5 mil an hour, but then I had about an hour and a half space for like food and stuff like that. Basically just like a break away from the computer because the grind was real. So yeah, at this point, I was just thinking to myself, okay, it's been a fun day, but we're really most likely just not going to achieve this challenge now. And the only way that we can possibly achieve it right now is if, of course, we get a hilt at Araxxor, but we've already done that quite a bit today. The only real chance really was to go and do Vorago and try and get a Seismic 1 split, and it had to be a 4-man team or a 3-man team. Now by this point I'd been streaming for about 10-11 hours, so I was completely done, to be honest, and I could not trio Vorago at this point. I could only just about bomb tank 4-man because my mind was just completely screwed over, and yeah, I was just zombified. So we did 4-man Vorago, and it was all down to this, guys. It was now or never. I tweeted back out to everyone who follows me over there saying 2 hours left of the session. It's now or never, guys. Seismic Wand is what we need to make the 100 mil goal. And yeah, it was pretty incredible what happened. The 7th kill into the Vorago trip, the very last kill at about 2 AM. This was the one which we needed to get the 1 drop on. From phase 3 all the way until the end of the kill, the entire chat was just spamming and rooting for this wand. The motivation that you guys gave me throughout that day was absolutely incredible. I want to thank every single one of you who tuned in on that day, because it was an incredible experience to just see every single one of you rooting for that Seismic 1 in the Twitch chat. It was crazy, the amount of spam. The last time I had spam like that was when I was going for the Ancient Emblem at Nex, where I went 300 plus Nex kills dry when it's a 1 out of 50 drop, and the chat went crazy then. That was the last time when the chat has been that crazy rooting for a drop, and this was the 7th kill now. It had to happen. It had to happen. We're in phase 5. We had the Fetty Wap 1738 tune on as well, just to encourage the RNG, and guys, it happened. It actually happened. We defeated all odds, and it was on the very last kill, and Chewy himself managed to get the personal Seismic 1 drop. We split it amongst 4 of us for 55.8 mil each, and that allowed me to get to a total of 100 mil and 250k. So I literally scraped into that 100 mil mark. Considering how unlucky I was throughout that day, I could have easily have made 150 mil plus the amount of time that I put into it if I'd actually got lucky at other bosses such as Nex, or even just more lucky at Araxxor. But no, I didn't. But we ended up getting the Seismic 1 drop. I mean, it was an unreal moment. Seismic 1 split. That's what we did it. We did it, guys. The truest of all ones. The truest of all ones. It was a fantastic moment. We made 100 mil, and just to conceptualize the entire day of exactly where I got my loot from. So I managed to obtain 43 malevolent energies. I then had to work the price out of that myself. I just went off about 150k each energy. Again, I must have got Barrow's amulets like every other freaking chest or something, because I only made like 6 mil an hour there at Rise of the Six. Then moved on to Araxxor, roughly made about 25 mil-ish from Araxxor. Total in so far on Rune Metrics, 29.2 mil. And I'll probably try and show that on the screen. That's exactly what Rune Metrics said for that day, 29.2 mil. So that's everything except for Rise of the Six drops, or some of the Rise of the Six drops that couldn't be tracked, such as Malevolent Energies. Nex was just flipping terrible. That was just dire. 5.6 mil I made from Nex over across 2-hour period, so I added that onto there. And then of course the 55.8 mil from the seismic wand itself, and any extra tectonic energy splits that added up to 3 mil on top of what Runemetrics was saying. So overall, I know that's really confusing, but there was no easy way of me doing this because I'm building up a loot tab. So overall, when I combine all of those figures, it did total up to 100 mil and 250k. So I managed to scrape over the milestone that I set myself for that day. And then with inflation for the following day, it actually added up to a total of 101.8 mil. It was an incredible day. Thank you everyone who tuned in. It was fantastic. So that's how you make 100 mil in a day. No, it really isn't. That's not how you make 100 mil in a day. There's obviously loads of different ways you can do it. Like I said, the most effective way, we go in order again, duo Araxxor, Goals Dungeon 2 if you've got 100% drop chance, or Rise of the 6. There's a debate between those two, and it really depends on what your skill level is really at Rise of the 6, I would say. And then you've got Nex after that, and then I would say well, yeah, that's pretty much it actually, to be honest. QBD, people always say that if you're like a low to mid-level player, it's nice to do QBD as like an entry-level boss. And then, of course, you've got Vorago, which we just defeated all odds with that, to be honest, because, you know, a seismic drop is 1 out of 40. We could have got the singularity or anything. We defeated all odds. We managed to get the seismic wand, and that's why it was such an epic moment. Yes, the one isn't expensive anymore. We sold it for like 250 mil or so. It really wasn't that expensive as a drop. It was just the whole meaning behind getting it was just absolutely incredible, and that was probably the very best one drop I've ever had. It's even better than the 300 to 400 mil splits I used to get back in early 2014. So thank you very much guys for watching this video of me making 100 mil within one day. Leave any questions you've got about this or money making in RuneScape in the comment section below. Help each other out, and hopefully I can see you guys in the future streams as well moving forward, where we'll be doing some crazy ideas like this, hopefully. I had a lot of fun doing this. Thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.